The fall of Yanukovych continued. He was out of a job yesterday when they appointed a new interim president. Then he was out of a home when the parliament voted basically to seize his palatial mansion, his opulent mansion, and return it to state hands. And now he's out of a party because today his own party, the Party of Regions, essentially dumped him, issuing a statement saying that he was a criminal who had robbed the country, brought Ukraine to the abyss, to its knees. He and his entourage, his family, an allusion to his son. Viktor Yanukovych still not visible, nowhere to be seen. No one knows where the man is, but he can't come back to Kiev at this point. He's really a non-political entity as far as the new political powers that be in Kiev are concerned. Tymoshenko herself, returned last night to a standing ovation, to cheering throngs in Independence Square. Yet her political future also very uncertain. She says she doesn't want the post for prime minister. There had been rumors maybe she'd want that job. She said no, absolutely not. Does she want president? That's up in the air. New president, meanwhile, today did give his first speech saying he wants to get Ukraine back on a European track while keeping normal and good relations with Russia. A very tall order.
Douglas, it's a very divided country, isn't it? Because if you went to the east of Ukraine, you'd probably get a very different take on events these past 3 months versus in the heart of Kiev, where you are.
Absolutely. Listen, without over-stereotyping things, it's not that everyone in the East is pro-Russia, not by a long shot, but it's a very mixed picture in the East. I'll just give you a few examples. In the port town of Sevastopol, basically in Crimea, where Russia has its fleet, they elected sort of a symbolic election of a new mayor who then turned to the town council there and ordered them to ask all of Crimea's deputies to return from parliament, come back to Crimea, basically a signal they don't support the new government, the new political changes here in Kiev. That obviously a big significant move. Odessa, another big town in the east, they had demonstrations there, 2,000 people carrying Russian and Soviet era flags. Go figure with that one. Dnipropetrovsk, another town in the east, there were clashes between pro and anti-Independence Square protesters, but on the upside I will just mention that there had been pro-Maidan protests, that's pro-Kiev protests in the town of Kharkiv, where Yanukovych supposedly had fled to. So a mixed picture in the east.
And Doug, finally, it's a very sad day for many people there in Ukraine because, of course, turning the page on the Yanukovych chapter came at a very high price for some, didn't it?
Absolutely. You know, we've been talking a lot about politics, but let's not forget this was the third and final day of national mourning here in Ukraine for the victims of last week's bloodshed. And, you know, the official toll is about 88. Maybe it's higher. There's been hundreds of injured. And throughout the day, it was just a tableau of grief on Independence Square, which is really now all the roads leading to it are lined with candles and flowers and tributes to the dead. You've had singing of prayers and speeches and priests. People filled with tears, lots of crying on the square today. So really amidst that, you know, we talk about the jubilation of the fall of Yanukovych and the changes, the political changes, but today was really one of grief, a very somber mood on the square in this day of mourning.